Okay, so you actually don't have patrol rates. So yeah, let's increase patrol rates here. Okay, so there are some missions that are only available within your own territory, so that's good to know. Or at the very least, you can't do over and over and over and over again in the same country. We have one Japanese troop here. Again, we don't want to attack the Japanese directly because they're going to be significantly stronger than our other opponents. We could try to push here. Again, our units should just be better than anything they have. We want to capture victory points. We can push here, and then I'm going to push our way to Olangapo. Try to encircle this division. Okay, the Japanese, they are not happy about my presence. I can tell you that much. We might get pushed out. I mean, are we getting reinforcements? We have 1,000 defense, but they've 1,253 breakthrough. Their planning bonus is insane. Okay then. Do I even want to attack? I don't think so. I don't think it makes sense. But that is a crazy planning bonus they have. So, you know, let's draw our offensive line so we can at least get a bit of a planning bonus ourselves. More wars going on in Russia. I don't think it matters at all to us. Well, Russia does. We should have down to 26. We need to spend some of these points. We have 97, so we want to increase cohesion. We need to spend these points. These spend immediately, so that's good. Yeah, legitimacy, it still looks low, but we're going to getting in a few days a big boost to this. So that number is not super reflective of where we're actually going to be at. Like, once these are done in 18 days, we should be getting like an extra like 70 points or something crazy like that, which I think is nice. Let's get a progress report. More delays. It still says 0 days. I should never press that button. We're losing militarization literally for no reason because the game, even though it says we're 0 days behind schedule, it's still like, man, you're gonna lose that militarization for no reason. Just a big middle finger to me. Also, we have an extra task force available. Okay, because you were slightly cheaper. Right, we have max intelligence on you. What about on Japan? Our cap is higher. We do know if we go to the coast, we do have some cheap 1 legitimacy point options. So we will take those. Yeah, they got to fix that. Yeah, it's basically I don't know if it's wrong. Is it not actually 0 days? Is that the part that's broken, or is the broken part that we're losing militarization? Because I don't know which one of those two has to be wrong, and I don't know which it is. What's happening in the rest of the world? I mean, so far things are pretty standard. Tunisia's won in the Dominican Republic, which, I mean, it's not great. Goddamn Germans, man. Goddamn Germans. Heartwarming. Richie Barrows had felt nothing since the Caribbean Legion failed against to oust Trujillo. He knew that his family was never going to go back to the Dominican Republic. Every man in the Caribbean Legion that didn't make it off the island was most certainly dead now. All that he could do was go to work day after day, like nothing was different. Another Tuesday at the end of the earth, and Tuesday was hard at work in the frigid hangar. While poking his head out of the Cessna, Richie saw Simon in front of him, adjusting his glasses, and he inquired, "Simon, what are you doing here? Don't you have radio stuff to do?" Simon answered, the others will take care of the radio. I just came to tell you that we left you a surprise in your bunk. We know you've been down lately, and I would be too if I was in your shoes. And I hope you feel better, man." Richie stood up in his chair and smiled. The act of kindness piercing the cursed cold that Richie had felt. Appreciate that. I'll be sure to have a look. Hours later, after his shift, Richie was giddy with excitement at the surprise. The events halfway around the world nearly crossed his mind. Upon unlocking his quarters, his gift did not disappoint. On his desk, on his bed, sat a bottle of Jim Beam's best whiskey. Hell yeah, brother. Okay. Misdirection. Now, said Vice Admiral Reborn, is there anything else on the docket of this meeting? The other leaders of the OAA exchanged discreet glances with each other across the conference room table. Hillary leaned forward. Actually, yes. We have some concerns about all deliveries arriving on base. We've been told by the Army Corps of Engineers that this has to do with the expanding military outposts on the interior. However, independent observations from my personnel have recorded no such developments. Nor mine, Beale added. You've been ordering your men to observe our operations? Asked Reborn. Are they not OFN operations? Hillary replied. I thought the purpose of the OAA was mutual cooperation and transparency. Well, absolutely, said Reborn. I'm merely suggesting your personnel's time might be better spent preparing for a potential dissolution of the Reich and the impact that it would have, rather than stooping on my men. Seeing as this did not molly its colleagues, Reborn added, I assure you both that deliveries are being put to good use, shoring up fortification along the border and preparing a jump-off point should we need to move against Swabia. The other two heads of the OAA looked wary, but accepted the assurances of his colleague and leader. We'll gain some more points in the administration. And again, okay, so America is getting more points here. No denying that, but things could be, way, way worse. Change of course. Mr. Robertson, we have recently redirected civilian merchant vessels in a direction that you and we have agreed upon earlier. Our methods, as you well know, are relatively simple. Discretion observe the boats as they leave port, and inevitably, shall we say, fall into difficulties, assume responsibility for it where the IJN and other navies of the Cross-British Sphere are unable to be of assistance. Then send it to the direction more suitable to positive output for all of us. All for their safety, as you all know. Recently, we've particularly good result from one vessel flying the Guangdong flag and heading towards Manila. There were various commodities of significance, as well as instances of American and Japanese currency. After taking the statutory portion into our care, we have sent the remainder to you with our courier. It is of the earnest hope that you will take good care of it. We look forward to further cooperation with you in the area of merchant vessel safety. Rip Robertson did not need to look at the non-existent signature to know that he had gone about it quite well. Giving the courier his usual due, Rip then poured out him a glass of whiskey. Rip then sipped on the bottle of Brazilian chachka that he had bought with him on a whim. Nodding appreciatively, he gave a simple compliment laden with a meaning. The Triads are certainly experts in nautical safety. Hell yeah, we love the Triads. I mean, as long as they're working for us, I don't see any issue with it. But what do we want to work on here? Let's train auxiliaries. We'll go back to spend a little bit more points on, I think Madagascar seems okay. Ignore all of these things. How are you doing? Because again, we can only, I think, get supplies for this division via... Oh, we actually have enough points to do both. Never mind, just press all the buttons. Now, I will say, I don't like that Japan is doing very well. Experience plus... Oh, no, that's me. 82% of the planning bonus is fucked. The render limit defense goes up. Paradoxical government. Horse sovereignty. I'm worried about the Philippines. The verge of disaster. A friendly Wallman watched as Vice Admiral Reborn read the hastily written reports that he prepared. He hoped that he wasn't bothering by the large coffee stain in the corner. In another situation, Wallman would have taken much longer to make a proper document for the head of the administration. This is not a normal situation. Tritium, Reborn said, not raising his eyes from the paper. Wallman gulped before speaking. Yes, Vice Admiral, a rare isotope of hydrogen, radioactive. Reborn's face lost color in reaction to the word, and it lost more color as he continued to read. Tritium is a rare, defined in nature, but it's commonly a byproduct of nuclear reactor operations, and it had found its way to the purified drinking water that the reactor produced. Over the 1,000 people at McMurdo were possibly drinking irradiated water. That statement kept replaying in Wallman's mind ever since the first test was conducted on the water. Unearthing the issue, it bore down on him like a storm. So heavy it sank him lower into his chair. We'll need to shut down water production down. Reborn said, lifting his gaze. It's already done, sir, Wallman answered. His vow had been to prevent the reactor from causing damage, and he had done so, and had done so anyway. Potentially with so many. Was it too late, Mr. Wallman? Reborn brought him out of his thoughts. You'll be fully supported in conducting health checks on as many residents as possible. I will also make sure that you have the resources to fix this immediately. But now we need damage control. The engineer stayed quiet. There was no way to going back and preventing this. The best we could do was face the present. Our beating heart turned poisonous. I love radiation in my drinking water. Honestly, I think more people should be irradiated. Right? They did it with, I mean, they just added, as far as I know, they just added ghouls into Fallout 76. Really, this is just an extension of that. Identity theft. The man stood patiently on the sidewalk with his arms firmly at his sides. He waited for the black Suzuki to come to a stop and deposit his passenger. The car stopped and a Japanese man took one step out. The passenger's side back seat before turning to the driver. Hey, this isn't the HQ. Are you sure you? His a hand on his arm and a pistol forced to his head stopped the man's query. Give me your wallet, the mugger said. Okay, please don't hurt me, the victim pleaded as he reached for his wallet and the mugger dragged him away from the car. Fucking Filipinos, the Japanese man muttered as he held up his wallet with his free hand and offered it to the mugger. Drop it, the mugger demanded. The Japanese man acquiesced. Now empty your pocket and drop everything to the ground. I haven't got any more money on me, the Japanese man replied. He dropped his keys, paper clips, and lanyard to his feet. The mugger gave the Japanese man a hard shove forward, causing the man to stumble and fall to the ground. Turning, he finally saw the mugger. It was in fact not a Filipino at all, but instead Japanese. His expression was not one of fear, but one of confusion when he was shot dead. After a careful cleanup of the body, the mugger picked up the wallet, the lanyard, and took his seat in the backseat of the black Suzuki. The driver finally spoke. Where to meet next? Oh no, where to meet Lefty? Wait, I can't read. Where to next, Lefty? Now I can read. Also, Yoshi, thank you for the membership. I made a terrible mistake in CK3. Was it playing CK3? Ba-dum-bum. The atmosphere was tense at McMurdo Station, more than usual. Reborn and Reedy stood around the map of the continent, with some miniature soldiers, vehicles, and buildings on it. Reedy asked, "Are you sure this isn't just a navigation error on your part?" Reborn said, "I'm certain. They're going deep past our borders," as he drew a line representing how far they'd gone. "But there's something worse than that," he added, as he reached into his pocket and set some photos down on the table. Reborn lit up a cigar as Reedy took a look at the photographs. "My God," he replied. Reborn blew a puff of smoke before saying, "They converted their snow crawlers into armored vehicles." Reedy nodded. "They're testing to see if they're really able to defend our borders," he said, before adding, "We can't let them think that they can get away with this." Reborn smiled. "I don't intend to. Starting now, we begin Operation Ice Castle. We fortify our outposts, we make more of them. Fabricate as much pyrokick as we can." He circled various spots on the map where he wanted more outposts. If the Japanese try it again, and we'll be able to instruct them in the error of their ways. Okay. You made the Ottoman Empire 300 years early. You know what? I would say, you know what? That's good. That's a positive development, I would say. Hello, Cake Boy. How are you? Where? Okay, so these are done in. Oh, these are done tomorrow. Okay, these are actually done tomorrow. Okay, legitimacy is now back looking pretty lovely. So actually, let's go down to Japan. I don't think it makes any difference where we actually do these. But I'm okay spending supplies on getting more militarization. I think we kind of need it. Delicious water. Oh, my thing's, gotta pour myself another glass here. Okay. Okay, we'll get our, blitz here. I am worried. Okay, we actually do see. Okay, so the Americans, well, the federal government, I guess you could say, has now sent volunteers to the Free Republic. But our moves in the north, I think the communists are fucked. They're not going to be able to do too much here. We've been done in 21 days. Got a while. I mean, we have an air. Why do we have an air bonus? I guess we'll just do air parity. I don't know if it matters too much. Just figured out in Kaiser Redux you can be King Arthur as King Edward. Yeah, that sounds, that does not surprise me. That seems like a very Kaiser Redux thing to do. There'll be more doctrines. I don't even know where we're getting this experience from, but I guess I'll take it. You know, what else am I going to do? Cohesion right now is at 44. It's hard to get cohesion and not be dog shit. Okay, we have a high legitimacy now, so we can definitely spend points here. Get 6. I don't want to, again, I can't decrease it. I need it to go up. That's kind of military advisors, OFN tensions. I think I can't recall volunteers, right? I can send, but I can't really do anything beyond that. You are dead. There's nothing we can do except hope that our the Free Republic in the South can do something. I wish I could cancel this because I spent the 30 command power on it, and we're not going to be able to actually use it at all, unfortunately. Like, maybe these last 3 we can maybe utilize in some way, even if the Free Republic wins, but, you know, we'll see. Okay, you are now all at war. And we can't send volunteers now to the rebellion. So yeah, we're going to send our extra division over. They'll be there soon enough. And we have some, how many operatives? We have 2? We have 2 we can deploy. I mean, our numbers are looking good. We have so much supply, man. I've got to spend the supply on something. What's legitimacy looking like for everybody else? Is there anybody who's like it's really low with? Oh, Germany has like none. We should be hammering legitimacy for Germany and Japan, and see where that gets us, if anywhere. You're like half dead. Oh, hey, the war. Oh, hey, we won. FPR is digging Manila. We love to see it. Off the hook. Dwight Sykes hated standing watch, especially on a night like this. The OFN Antarctic administration used every little excuse to throw a party. This time was no different. Dwight had read the news, and he thought, so what? The Philippines liberated itself. Tokyo would still be around tomorrow, and the Japanese would probably be back in Manila next month anyways. His glum outlook was why he volunteered for the watch in the first place. Everybody on base knew him as a disciplined lieutenant, and he had to keep up appearances. However, there was a silver lining for Dwight. With all these people partying, it meant the phones in McMurdo cafeteria would be open. He'd call his family, talk for hours with his loved ones. All he had to do was make it through this damn watch. These thoughts, however, were interrupted by a pervasive stench of a plant that he knew all too well. Dwight grew up in Newark, after all. Looks like somebody's having a really good night, he muttered to himself. It didn't take long for Dwight to locate a source. The radio hut reeked, and his hands hovered on the knob. He opened a door, and the room fell silent. An American, whom Lieutenant Sykes had recognized, hollered, "Attention on deck!" Within an instant, the 3 men stood up and did their best to stay in position of attention, given their altered state. Dwight, weighing his options, opted for leniency tonight. As you were, gentlemen, just don't make a habit out of it. Even Dwight knew that nobody liked a hard ass. Excellent. So does that mean, like, are you going to get canceled? Because now, these are 40, huh? Weeks where decades happen. This is McMurdo FM. I'm your host for tonight, Matthew Cho. Now we would usually call this a special bulletin, but at the rate we're getting these special bulletins, might as well just call them bulletins. Matthew took a hefty sip of tea, then continued. Last week, the Pentagon approved a special intervention in the Madagascar rebellion, and is currently sending troops to the island as we speak. Matthew took a deep breath, staring at the desk the microphone was situated on. On the messy tableau was coffee stains, crumbs, and folders of useless crap yet to be sorted. However, one pristine letter stood out. It was Matthew's brother, Tommy, already on the ground in Madagascar. Every day was anxiety-inducing, worrying that he might get the call. My brother is one of the troops fighting in Madagascar. We wish all servicemen a quick victory and a slow victory parade. With that, McMurdo FM went off the air with his radio jingle and returned to his regular scheduled music. Matthew took one last stressful sip of tea and promptly passed out on the couch. Probably from too much of that reefer. Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Okay, our troops arrived in Madagascar. Happy to see that. And you, my good, so you're in the north. My thought is to send you immediately against the Germans. This empty territory, I don't think anything's even there. So I want to take this ASAP. If there's no Germans here, That there's no Germans here and there's no Germans here. You know, that makes sense to my little brain. Okay. Any more we can do? Yeah, we'll spend the 8 points. I kind of hate it because I don't want to spend the points, but not much we can really do. By the way, do you have any more operations? No. These will be done in 9 days. I think if we hammer Germany on legitimacy, we could see something really good there happen for us. Okay, a shipment. There was a shipment being delivered to the fisher by a fisherman named Rip. No relation to Rip Van Winkle, of course. And he was not at all pleased. If we're up to him, he'd be anywhere but here. At his present, rather than communist companionship, was not making it any more desirable. But the world was ruled by Hitlerites and Yamato occultists, and if there was any hope of challenging this paradigm, that choice did Rip have. At least a communist wouldn't slaughter you for failing to bow down enough times for God Emperor Hitler Mussolini. A communist might distrust people like Rip. He was a CIA agent. Things like the MACA SOG were on the same side, or the same as side and Pied and Dio Cody to them. That is capitalist. But the Malaysians, Indonesians, Vietnamese, and Chinese Reds on the boat were at least sensible enough to know that they could be relied on to help them help the Hucks, and help Rip by extension. So Rip, having no real choice, nor any good incentive to object, simply gave them guns and set sail for his fishing vessel. His destination, Noir-Luzon, where Louis Tarak was waiting. And a penguin in Madagascar. Agent McGraw was still adjusting to this place. He had joined MACO SOG primarily to protect Antarctica, not to fight in Madagascar. While many would have been glad to get out of there, he found himself missing it. Sure, it was a frozen hellscape, but snow's pretty and penguins are cute. Plus, the longer he spent away, the more worried he got about what was going on back home. Still, Antarctica was not an island. A Nazi victory here would only embolden them, and ultimately threaten the OAA itself. Besides, he figured it was probably good for him to have a change of pace. The Malagasys held their weapons awkwardly. These were not the hardened mercenaries that he was used to directing. But you fight with the army that you have. One of them seemed frustrated as he kept missing his targets. McCraw shouted to him, "You're jerking the trigger." In direct, firm tone, or quietly, he said, "Don't let the recoil surprise you. Just squeeze the trigger." To another, he grilled him, "Do not keep your finger on the trigger. You do the Germans' job for them." More drills went on throughout the day. Bayonet training, communications, marching. The Malagasys were progressing rapidly, if nothing else. They were enthusiastic too. This is unsurprising. He had seen what the Nazis were doing to countries like these. It wouldn't be much longer before they were about to see combat. McGraw was, of course, nervous. He'd have to be insane not to. But still, he was optimistic. He was, after all, trained for worse. Okay. Ahmed has won the Malaysian elections. Is that not the pro-American side? I feel like we spent all our effort on that. So the Socialist Party has won in Malaysia. They're not a member of any sphere. I think this is just broken. I don't think this is like legitimate. Like if I click economic sphere, yeah, no sphere. Yeah, so this is just incorrect. Which is good to know that this is just a oh, there's an economy type. Okay, no, so the economy type is broken. Everyone it thinks is a it's giving everybody like this modifier, the anti-Himmler coalition. So okay, so that's a bit bugged. For one reason or another, I'm not too sure why. I think that's very funny. That everyone is part of the well, these guys are said. I don't know. We won't worry about it. Okay, it's not a big deal. It's just a little funny. Sure. Adaptive combat. I'm not even gonna worry about it too much. Yeah, our units are looking good. I mean, the fact that the AI is even like abandoning this position kind of tells me that the AI doesn't really have much in here. So it should be pretty easy to kind of clear out. We do see Japan has sent some troops here as well, because Japan also is backing the rebellion. You are getting volunteers from Germany, from New Swabia, as well as the French state. I mean, does make sense. Late arrival. Head engineer of McMurdo nuclear reactor stood very rigidly next to the door. He huffed to himself and impatiently tapped his shoe. He looked at his watch periodically. Then the door opened and the lanky young man stumbled into the facility. The tardy engineer went white as soon as he noticed Wallman's eyes pinned on him. "Where were you?" Wallman inquired. You took way longer than needed to bring the tools that I asked for. The young researcher retreated, mumbling some sort of apology. Then, another engineer walked through the scene, sympathetic for the newbie. Oliver, mate, I told you to stop wandering around looking for penguins. That's what our break is for. He approached with an easy smile and patted the embarrassed young man on the back. Don't be so hard on him, Kenneth, the mellow engineer said. Ballman shook his head and walked off. Wandering? Penguins? Really? Then he turned around. Do you at least bring the tools? The young man nodded twice and then again, handing Wallman a very large toolbox. Wallman grunted his approval and went to work. Maybe just too cranky nowadays. Regardless, they've been making decent progress. There are multiple methods of removing radiation from the water. Filtering had produced a promising result so far. They needed to fix the grave. The gravel was shielded to the core, which breached and caused this whole mess. He stretched for a bit and then went out to put out the equipment. When he looked through, he found almost half of the tools were missing. I need more coffee. He cursed under his breath. Small hiccups happen, don't they? Are we getting... We need to put more security. Additional manpower. Let me take a look at our statistics here. Cost 2 points. Honestly, it's not that bad. I mean, political power is not great. We have the supply easily, so we can definitely spend the points on that. And we'll do the supply on... Oh, we have legitimacy too, right? Yeah, so we can do this. And go with you. I'm fine spending these points. At least right now. When are you done? 3 days? And once those are all done, we want to send all of our effort, I think, against Germany. Want to take this city if we can. The Antarctic Cavalry. Terrace was standing on a wooden watchtower, overlooking the ice with his binoculars. Things have been tense, as the Japanese had been spotting moving further and further into their territory. The possibility of the Japanese attacking was on everybody's mind. That's when he started to hear something, the sound of engines. He was about to panic and set an alarm when he realized it was coming from behind him. Turning around, he looked to see vehicles waving the OFN flag. Relieved, he climbed down to the tower. There were many soldiers, snow crawlers, and construction equipment. Men started getting out of their transports and getting to work. Harris approached one of them and asked, "What's going on?" The newcomer said, "Good day there, Corporal Walker," as he offered a handshake. "We're born heard you guys could use some handout here." "I can't say he's wrong," replied Terrence. Walker headed out in front of the small, dingy outpost. You've been living in this place all this time. You're braver than I thought," he said with a laugh. "Well, we're going to start on building some fortifications." Various soldiers began to open crates of sawdust. "Sawdust?" asked Terrence, confused. "I don't see how that's supposed to help." Walker smirked. "Not just sawdust, mate. You mix it with water and let it freeze, then you get something called picrate. By weight, that stuff's almost as strong as concrete. It'll keep you safe. Got more uniforms, too, and bodies to fill them. For the first time, what felt like an eternity, Terrence was able to sleep easily that night. I'm glad to hear it. There's been a overthrow of the Haitian government. And again, we want to clear all this land. It does seem like Japan is, You're actually not moving. That's fine. But if we can clear... Again, we clear all this out of German units. And actually, it looks like they're actually doing fantastic, man. Like, this will get cleaned up in a second. You'll get cleaned out. And then once that's done, there won't be any German troops around. They just need to make sure that, they actually do their job. If the AI can actually properly, deal with these encirclements, which, I mean, is asking the AI a lot, okay? I will say that. But if the AI can do that, we'll be looking happy. Okay, apparently they defeated the passive rebels. That's not great, because that actually makes the front line substantially more difficult to deal with, but these are getting closed off. It is going to make the front line a little bit smoother. New Prime Minister of Japan. Oh, and our task force. Excellent. Excellent. So what we want to do is we want to send... Our legitimacy is also pretty bad. No, we get legitimacy for doing this too, so... We're going to send all of our expeditions into German territory. Yeah, we gotta make sure legitimacy doesn't actually falter too much, which is a potential risk for sure. 56. We do see some German troops here. This has all been cleaned up. So it doesn't look like there's any like actual holes in our defensive line, which is very, very important for us. Very, very, very happy to see it. This is, okay, these are wars in Russia. Do not care about that at all. Visit home. Beams of warm golden sunlight seep through the foliage of the old maple tree. The light reached the grateful Edward, who sat back in his rickety chair with a satisfied sigh. You act like an old man, Eddie, his sister Connie commented. She sat on the floor, a yo-yo in her hands. Didn't Ma tell you not to sit there? Edward retorted, his grin creeping up from his face. He eyed his mother, who sat next to him with a disapproving look. Yeah, I did, girl. That floor is dirty. I haven't cleaned that porch in a decade. You're gonna mess up your dress. His sister took the hint, stood up and ran down the creaking steps of the porch and into the dusty street. Edward watched her run and once again sat back up in his chair. He couldn't follow her. The army had advised him to stay put, for security apparently. Ma put her hands on his. It was thin and calloused, but with a delicate touch. The money you've been sending helped pay for electricity yesterday, she said. Thank you. He had never been much for fanfare, but Edward was overjoyed. He showed them that it was the most gentle smile that he could put up. It's no problem, Ma. I'm going to keep sending more. The door opening suddenly, and out came his older sister. Where are you going? Edward lifted his head. Out, Anya said. She didn't turn to look at him. She was carrying a sign with a slogan about voting rights. Edward stood up. What do you mean? We barely spent time together. I only have some time left on leave. Anya snapped her head with him. You're not the only one trying to help the family, you know. He wanted to follow her badly, but he wondered what kind of trouble that he would get to in the army if they found out. Ma extended her hand at him, and he sat back down. Both of you distance yourself to help. Not too different, she said. Okay.